I am going to kind of show you a couple of ideas of how to make snow globes using kind of natural materials. So the first thing that you would need to get started is just a glass jar. I would suggest the best way to do it is one that that won't leak. So a really good lid. You'll need to clean off any labels. You can do it with kind of different types of jars. So this is just the one that I've picked because it's kind of quite small. But you could use this as an old coffee jar um, that's quite a bit bigger, so you can see the kind of difference. But it doesn't have to be rounded, it could be ridged, it could be any shape you like. But you will definitely need a jar, you will need some water. Um, you will also, well, this is optional, but you can add in things like glycerin and olive oil to give it that kind of snow globe effect. And I'll go into a bit more detail about that. And then you'll need whatever you would like to use to decorate the inside, whatever you want to put inside the jar, and if you want to decorate the outside. And I've got a couple of ideas and suggestions that you can do for that. So I'm going to start off showing you one that I have already made, and to talk you through what I've used, what I've done, and what I've kind of learned from making it. So this is the one that I've made. Um, I have obviously turned the jar upside down. I don't know if you can see it, but the lid on it wasn't the kind of prettiest. So I put some kind of nice Christmas tape around it to make it a little bit prettier. And it was just something that I think I'd actually got out of the works, and it's paper, it's tape that's made out of paper, and there's kind of loads of different colours. So if you don't want to do red, there's like kind of nice Christmassy greens, golds, and it's just a kind of nice way to cover up the kind of ugly lid. You could also paint it as well. And it also depends, like with that other one that I showed you, this one, I probably wouldn't turn this one upside down just because I'm not entirely sure how tight that is. So I might want it that way. And obviously this is quite a nice top, so you might not want to or feel like you need to change that. Um the next thing I did was I decided that I wanted to use natural materials to kind of decorate the outside. So I'll see if I can get a bit closer so you can see it. So what I used actually was a laurel leaf, and I just got a wee Christmas tree template. You could cut it around freehand, but I wanted it to be as neat as possible. And I just used my scissors and I just cut round the leaf. Um, I planted the tree out in kind of different sizes so that I could maybe have you could do a variety of different sizes on here. You could also use different types of leaves. Um, so I went with this one just because I liked it best. But you could alternate the different patterns, the different pattern leaves. And then all I used was I put some PVA glue into a paper cup, and I just used that with a paintbrush. And if you just, because the good thing about this is it dries clear, so you wouldn't be able to tell that I had used glue on that once it's totally dry. So I just PVA glued the glass. I PVA glued my cutout of the tree, stuck it on, and then I just used the PVA glue and I went over the top of it to make sure it all sticks down. And then I just kind of pressed it in. And what I found is you kind of keep you will have to kind of keep pressing in to make sure it sticks. But it dries really quickly and it dries clear. You could really experiment with what you decide to stick on there, depending how creative you want to get. You can I just kind of went around the garden and had a look at what I felt would look nice and Christmassy and suit going on the snow globe. you know, there's different colours. That might be quite nice if you made a kind of small Christmas tree out of it. And you kind of get the edges here. And it'll give you a kind of bit of colour. So you could decorate as much or as little as you want. I did two, just so that I could easily show you the inside of it. So inside, what I've done is I've stuck holly to the base. And I did that using my glue gun, and I'm actually going to show you how I did it later on using a different material. But the reason why I've used the glue gun is because it's really sturdy, and it dries solid and it's waterproof. So once that's on there, it's not coming off. Um, and then I just picked up leaves um just off the tree in the garden. And you can pick up, different colours of leaves to kind of bring. A lot of mine were kind of the darker red colour, but you could try and get yellow ones, orange ones. Um, and I just cut them up really, really small. Hopefully you can see that in a cup. And with this one, I just put them straight in and added the water, and I found that it kind of made it quite dark and hard to see. It made the water quite murky. So for my second one, I decided that I was just going to try and rinse the leaves off a little bit, and see if I could get any of that mud off. Um, so I just cut up all the leaves and added them in, and then you can use glycerin, but I wanted to have a shot of just using olive oil that I had lying around the house. Um, but what I found with it is, yes, it gives you the slower um kind of movement, that snow globe effect, but it's actually made um the water kind of quite yellow and quite dark to see. So again, I decided the next one that I make, I don't want to use that. You could use glycerin, which won't have that kind of yellow effect, but I wanted to keep mine natural, and experiment a little bit. So when I shake this, you'll see it gives that snow globe effect. Hopefully you can see it, of all the leaves moving around. You could do it just with the leaves and more decor on the outside, with your materials, or you could just have nothing on the outside and just have something really nice on the inside. Um, when I was out looking at the materials, I had a look at what else I thought would look quite nice stuck to this lid. And just a couple of bits from around the garden that I've picked up that you could kind of just glue into the bottom there, a bit of eucalyptus. So it's just worth kind of, when you're out having a look, part of it is seeing what you can find and seeing what you want to experiment with, and try kind of things that look interesting. This one, for example, the reason why I didn't pick it this time round was because it was too big to fit in my jar. Whereas if you decide that you want kind of like a bigger jar, it would probably fit in nicer, or maybe it needs to be a wider jar. So it's just something to think about when you're outside, is what do you want the inside to look like. So that was the kind of one that I started off with, using the PVA glue to stick on the Christmas trees. You could pick out stencils that aren't just Christmas trees, though. You could think of other things, like you could find I don't know, maybe like some nice kind of red leaves, green leaves, and maybe try and do Christmas baubles. There's probably loads of things, loads of ideas that once you get started, um, you'll be able to come up with them in your imagination, and just play about with them. The one that I was going to show you is going to be using acrylic paints on the glass, but also having the leaves and something stuck to the lid. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick what I want onto this lid so that whilst I'm doing the other like decorating the glass and everything like that, that it has some time to dry. So what I thought I would try um to stick on here is maybe a couple of pine cones. Um I have kind of different sizes here. But I think the ones that I like the best were these two. So I'm going to use my glue gun, like I said, to stick these on, just so that I know they're sturdy. So I've warmed up my glue gun here. Um, I've got my glue in here. The one thing I will say is the glue gun is quite hot, so be careful not to touch the glue. And once you've used it a couple of times, you'll know the best way to do it. So it needs to, I've had it here on just whilst I've been talking, heating up. So you want a good amount of glue on the base there to make sure it's going to stick. And then you just want to place, I'm going to do one at a time just so I can see that the glue is sticking. And then you want to kind of cover the base. You will need quite a lot of this. You want to cover the base because you want to make sure it's going to stick. And you want to make sure you're going around all of the sides, getting that stuck down. And these probably would need more sticking than the poly, just because there's more to them at the bottom. So I'll just keep sticking that on there. And I'm just going to pop in another glue stick. Obviously, you need to make sure they don't go over the sides because they need to fit into that glass jar lid. Sorry, the lid needs to fit into the glass jar. So once you think you've got enough glue on there, you can leave that to dry. I'm just going to add a little bit in there and then I'm going to position them the way I want them. And I'm just going to hold them there just for a couple of seconds so that I know that they're sticking. You will get kind of like stringy bits of glue, so I would just push them away. So you could add anything in here. If you're looking at natural materials, we had thought about you could make a Christmas tree out of twigs out the garden. Either find a branch that looks like a Christmas tree, or you could try and kind of break up the bits of branch and kind of make them into a bit of a Christmas tree. It just depends how much space you've got. So they're already starting to harden, but I'm just going to leave them to the side, just to give them that chance to the glue to really dry, whilst I decorate my jar. So this is where you can really just do whatever you would like to do. I have decided that I'm going to do it using acrylic paints. Picked some Christmassy colours out of a box to see what I fancy doing. You could, depending on how arty you want to get with it, you could make a Christmas tree. You could print, like I said, with um the leaves. You can pick up kind of things and print things off. You could blue tack that on and use that to draw around to give you the Christmas tree shape. But then you could fill in yourself and put, I don't know, Christmas bubbles on it, Christmas lights, tinsel. You could make it a lot bigger than that if you wanted to. An idea that I had was to use cotton buds. Now these ones are just all made out of paper. I just got them out of, I think, maybe Asda or Superdrug or somewhere like that. And I thought that that would be quite nice if I dabbed it in some white paint and just popped it on the jar as if it was kind of like snowdrops. And then I could get as it gives you kind of like the good shape. I mean, you could do it with, I also thought about you could do it with a paintbrush or even with the end of a paintbrush, which is in the kind of right shape if you wanted different sizes. You could do it with the paintbrush as well. Obviously that will be slightly harder. But if you think about what is your inside going to look like and what do you want the outside to look like. So the last one I did was obviously quite it could have been quite busy if I'd kept adding stuff to it. And then would you be able to see what was in the inside? You know, if you've got something nice on the inside, you want to be able to see it. So that's why I thought kind of adding these in and making them look like snowfall would be quite a cool idea. Um, I had also thought about you could do maybe some stars, or you could do this similarly and do it with different colours and um make them into kind of like Christmas baubles. You could do bigger ones. You could find different things to print with. Um, but I just thought I would keep it nice and simple and do kind of like snowdrops here. The other thing is to be careful, especially when you're doing the glue, is hold the inside of the jar when you're going round it, or else you'll get covered in paint. And as I learned earlier, you'll get a bit stuck to the jar when you use the glue. Um, but you could even use outdoor materials to create different shapes. You know, you could paint round a nice kind of leaf shape that you find outside. You could combine the two. You could um, put some paint along with your natural materials from outside. Um, so I've just kind of gone around there and put some snowdrops on. I had also thought, which would take quite a bit of build up, but you could do quite a lot of these down the bottom and build up on top of them to make it look like it's been snowing along the edge of the jar. If you think about what your lid's going to look like, or you could paint your lids. You could paint nice patterns on it. But you see, you could build that up and make it kind of look like it's snowing. Because if I'm thinking about it, I'm gonna have mine upside down, so this is going to be the bottom, and it might be quite nice to make all that look like it's been snowing. You can use your paintbrush and write on it. You could write, you know, if you're giving it as a gift, you could write Merry Christmas on it, a nice Christmas message. I had also thought of a way to, you know, if you're using paint, you could even kind of draw a shape onto it, as long as you know that the pen will kind of come off. So you can just maybe see the outline, but you can wipe the pen off once you've painted it, and it kind of gives you a bit of a guide on how where to paint. So that's just to give you some ideas of what you can paint on it. And the good thing about acrylic as well is it'll it'll dry in textured. So that kind of, I don't know if you can see it, but it kind of does give you that snow effect where it's all kind of bumpy. And it'll dry on there nicely and it won't come off. So that's just some ideas of how you can decorate it. Like I say, you could find like a nice shape that you think would be good on there, and you could also glue that on if you want to. I'm going to keep this one like this just so that everybody can see what the inside's going to look like. So, like I mentioned about the last jar, this jar, you know, it's really yellow because of the um, olive oil and a mixture of the fact that I didn't wash the leaves. I'm going to not use olive oil in my next one. I'm just going to use water. Um, so like I say, I just got some nice leaves out the garden. You can pick up different colours. Mine are mainly kind of like a reddy colour. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to just add these into my glass jar. I also felt like when I did my first one, I maybe added in too many. You know, maybe if you've got something in the middle, um, you don't want to add too much in there because then you can't see what you've done at the base. So I'm just going to leave it like that. You can obviously add in more, if you feel like you've not added enough. Um, and then I'm just going to fill it up. You actually need to fill this more than you think you do, um, because it all kind of disappears into this neck when you turn it upside down. But you can see how nice that is. You know, I've not put too many in there and it's just water. And look at that nice way they move round in the water. So I'll just put that jug back down again. And then this is when I'm going to bring back. Now, I've left that to dry. And I don't know if you can see, you obviously can see there's quite a lot of glue there, but they are sturdy. So I just want to pop my lid on and try not get. So make sure that's nice and tight. And hopefully you can see, look how nice the way they move round. You know, you don't really need the olive oil to slow them down or anything like that or make it look like snowfall. And look at the colour difference as well.
That's lovely.
Yeah, so I think I definitely prefer it without the olive oil. It is a good idea if you don't mind it being kind of that yellowy colour. But you can put as much design on. I know this one's quite simple, but you could put Christmas trees on. Or if you didn't want it to be Christmas, if you wanted to be more autumn, like you know, an autumn kind of idea, or you could stick, like I say, the materials from outside. And then probably the way I would finish this one off is I would probably just stick some nice tape on the bottom of it, whichever colour I like the look of. And that is two nice options of how to do Christmas snow globes with natural material. Jenny, I will hand back over to you now to do your snow globes. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lorna. That's lovely. Lots of fab ideas there. I think we'll be all out in the garden foraging for leaves and cones.
That's part of the fun of that one is going out and seeing what you can find
What you can
and coming up
find.
with good ideas.
Absolutely. I'm just going to grab my tray and talk through the next one. So if I just like that and zoom down here. So from Lorna's Lovely Natural Materials, I thought I would just go full bling with my snow globe. I'm trying to get the best angle here. Is that it there, Lorna, do you think? Let's see. Can we see? Can you see?
Yes, we can see your snow globe.
So if I can see the snow globe, you'll see that I have, woo, a little Christmas tree in here and some lovely glittery snow. So this is about making a snow globe again with a jar, and I have used some elements here. I used some modelling clay that you bake in the oven to make a little Christmas tree figure there. I had some of these little cutters in the kitchen drawer, so I used the cutter and then I decorated it with my baubles and my little star. Made a little base for it because it's quite important to have something that's quite flat and easy to glue down. So I made a little base for the Christmas tree and baked it in the oven. And now it's nice and waterproof, so that will be good inside the jar, inside the snow globe. I also found I had some polystyrene packaging, which I found in my garage, and I wanted to use that to make a little base. So it looked like my tree was already standing in the snow in the jar. So I've cut that out from polystyrene. The best way to do that is to just move this. It's to get your piece of polystyrene, get your jar, turn it upside down, draw the circle, and then you can cut it out, and then you just need to make it a little bit smaller so that it fits neatly inside your lid. I'm going to make one in this jam jar, and you have to make sure that your base, if you're going to use one, fits snugly inside and doesn't interfere with the nice seal that's around the edge of your jam jar lid. So that's another piece. And I've also got some of this biodegradable glitter, which is lovely, and a bit of ribbon to decorate it too, and a tag if you wanted to pop a tag on it. So I'm just going to show you how I put it all together. That's what it's going to look like. So of course you have to start off with your lid. As I said, make sure it's got a nice seal on it, so that when you turn your jar upside down, it's not going to leak. And then I'm going to use this glue gun just to put some glue on the lid. And then I'm going to glue down my snowy polystyrene base, like so, just to hold it in place. And then I'm going to add some glue to the bottom of my modelling clay baked tree. Now I was thinking you could possibly do this with plasticine, but I'm not sure how it would stay together if you stuck lots of things on. You'd have to make sure it was quite well held together. But you can experiment with that. Or any kind of models that you have, or little Christmas decorations, as long as it's waterproof, you can pop it in your jar. So there we are, I've got the Christmas tree stuck in the centre there. And I'm just going to put that to one side to let the glue dry. I'll just show you a couple of things. So this is the type of modelling clay I'm talking about. I bought this in a craft shop. It's quite inexpensive, but you get lots of different colours. It's good fun. And glitter. I was showing you this lovely silvery glitter, and that's what I decided to use in my snow globe. But I had bought some white glitter, which I thought would be great because that's going to look like snow, I thought to myself. That'll be fabulous. So I was experimenting with it, and I put 1 teaspoonful into my globe, and I was very disappointed because I shook it and it just doesn't look like anything. This water has got, it was 1 teaspoonful of washing up liquid to 1 pint of water, which I had read was a good idea, but actually I just find that very irritating, those bubbles. So I'm not going to use washing up liquid. And I'm not going to use this glitter, unfortunately, because you can't even see it. So if you are going to buy white glitter, or glitter that's going to be a bit iridescent and snowy, buy the very large flakes. This was the second finest, but buy the very large ones because that's what you need to make it look snowy. I even tried it. I put 2 teaspoonfuls in. I thought I'll try that, and that might look more like snow. So it's fine when it's lying down at the bottom, but you give it a shake and turn it up, and it just looks very murky. So buy the big flakes. If you're buying white, go large. And as I say, this was the silver, which worked much better than do it in the water. It's got much more effect. So that was my glitter experiment. So back to our lovely tree and our jar. So this jar, I am going to put in just a large teaspoonful of glitter in the bottom. Have a nice heaped teaspoonful, and I think that's about enough for a jar of this size. It's just a jam jar from the cupboard. And you can see it there, and like Lorna said, you've got to fill it up a lot more than you expect. This is just plain water. Just fill it up right up to the rim now. See it in a little. And then make sure that your base on your tree is attached, which it is, and then pop it in. Make sure it's nice and tight. The lid is tight. And here we go. Hey! So, a lovely snow globe. Now, I decorated the bottom just using some ribbon that I had, some Christmas ribbon. You can just glue it on and make a little bow if you fancy, like that. And then you can tie a Christmas tag on or sellotape it to the top, however you fancy doing it. So that's an easy way to make it with a model that you have made or that you already have, something like that in your Christmas cupboard. Pull them out, see what you've got, and stick them on a jar lid. Just a quick idea for a tall jar. Swap the tree over here. I had this tall coffee jar that had a lid that I wasn't trusting to be very waterproof, and I thought, well, can I use this jar? So I'm just going to adjust my set there. So I thought, can I use this jar? It's quite tall, but I quite like it. It's a nice shape. And I thought, well, what can I do to put? What can I put in there? And I had read about using things that you cut, paper things that you can cut out of Christmas cards, or I was using things in a magazine that I liked. I had seen little Christmas scenes like this. So what you can do to make them waterproof is to laminate them. So laminate them in a sheet like this, and then cut them out. But when you're cutting out, leave a nice margin round the outside so that you're not cutting right up to the shape. You're leaving yourself a little bit extra. Let's see if I can show you what I mean. So this little man that I've cut out here, as you can see, I've left some extra laminate right round the edge there, so that it keeps it waterproof, and then you can put that in the water quite safely. And for the tall jar, I thought, well, actually, I could suspend these shapes from the lid and drop them in. So you can see here, I've cut out my shapes. I've used cut out a long strip of the laminate paper there, and I've just glued them on in the way I want them. And I'm going to pop them in my jar. So again, it's just a case of adding your glitter. So for this big jar, I think I'll need a couple of big spoonfuls. And I'll have a spoonful here. Oh, this is the fun bit, isn't it? It's lovely. Don't know why we don't have glitter other parts of the year, not just at Christmas. So there's a couple. We can always add more if we don't think we've got enough. Now, the nice thing about paper things is that they can be big enough to sit in the jar, and you can kind of curl them up to get them in, so they can be quite large. So as you can see, I've suspended my cutouts at different heights here because I'm hoping to create a nice scene. You can roll them up to get them in top. Oh, wait a minute, I've forgotten the bottom. That again. Oops, here we go. I'm going to fill it up. Now you can see quite a silvery rush snow here. And you can fill it right up to the top. And because this one you're not going to be turning it upside down, it's a bit easier to judge how much water you want in. So now we're going to pop in the fish. Woo! Get them to go in. Go on. You might need to give them a bit of a help. Okay. Hang on, I've got my scissors here. I can to go in straight. There. Woo! Hopefully the scene will unfold. The trick with this is when you're building it up, is to mark the front of the jar lid so that you can see. Now, hopefully you can see this little man out for a walk in the woods. There he goes with his dog. So there we go. Another way of decorating your snow globe. Thanks very much, Lorna. I think I'll hand back to you. We've got lots of ideas there, I think. Lots of materials, natural materials, shop bought ones, and lots of different skills and techniques too. And you can select which suit you and your group and have a go at creating a fun festive snow globe. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Jenny. It's lovely. Does anybody have any questions, or how are you getting on making your own snow globes? Any ideas that you've maybe thought of? Fiona, I can see you've unmuted.
Yeah, I've got glycerin, but I haven't put glycerin in. Do you need to? Because that's mine there, so that when you shake it, can you see it?
Yeah,
Yes.
lovely. Oh, wow.
Mine's not natural. It's got Santa a tree in it, but I need to put more water in. So do I need to put glycerin in? No.
We find no. You can do because it was something that we were going to do, and then we thought we would try with the fairy liquid and the olive oil. So I think if you are wanting to put something in, I think it should be the glycerin. Because I tried with olive oil and I obviously didn't like it that much. And Jenny, you tried with the fairy liquid. So I quite like it just with the water. Like I find mine, it floats nicely.
Yeah.
I think as long as it's not too heavy.
Yeah, I think if it's got nice big flakes, I think it floats down quite slowly, doesn't it? So it's quite a nice effect. So if you're pleased with it, Fiona, the way that it is, I don't think you have to add the glycerin.
You do have to add more water than you think, though, because if I was adding more water than I thought, and there's still this kind of gap. I think you probably do need a bit of a gap, but I would maybe make it a little bit less than that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I can see the one the group that are called Joe Green. Hello. How are you getting on? What are you up to? Tell us what you're doing. Oh, you'll have to unmute. You'll have to unmute. Hello, it's lovely to have you join us.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, we tried going natural with some teasels, which look really great.
Oh, they're lovely.
They're very sweet.
Oh, aren't they?
Unfortunately,
yeah, they are.
it leaks really badly.
Oh no.
We're not going natural. We've gone very unnatural with some bottle brush trees, but they look adorable.
Oh, they do. That's lovely. Oh, and you've got snowy snow.
We've got snowy snow.
Oh. So where did you get your snowy snow? Tell.
So unlike you, I've got the that stuff.
Ah. And is that a really big, large grey?
No. This is the interesting thing. So It's quite fine.
Uh-huh.
So the ones that we've used baby oil because it's it's see-through.
Yes.
But when we've used baby oil, it kind of clumps up like this.
Oh, right, okay.
So it kind of like snow, but also
It is,
like
yeah.
not.
Ah.
Not sure that's the effect we were going for. But this one, Kat didn't put any
Yeah, and it's doing all right, isn't it? That's lovely.
They look much prettier in real life, I have to say.
That looks very
They're
pretty.
not really translating.
That's very pretty.
And
Good.
So this.
Oh, like that. Way.
Oh,
Lovely.
Oh, that's lovely.
endless amounts of fun, I think.
Oh, that's
So,
lovely.
thank you.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. That's lovely. Oh, you've got a collection of them.
Very nice. I think part of the fun of it is actually experimenting
Yeah.
as well.
I know. And is that a sort of like a raffia or rope base you've got round?
Yeah, so yeah, that's just some jute cord
Oh, it looks
that
very
we usually use for tying hops up with. But
yes.
it's pretty good.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, lovely effects. Well done. You'll have to demonstrate next year. We'll be calling on you.
Thank you.
That's lovely. Thanks so much. Oh. Has anyone else got a question or something they'd like
Ideas
to
of what they can use.
Yeah, because we like to see what other people are doing and try out different ideas.
Actually, I did have a question.
Yes.
Do you seal the lids with anything? Have you been putting anything around like glue or anything around the lids once you're happy with them?
No.
Just leaving them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think the trick is if it's a jar in its former life that's held a liquid, then it's probably quite a good seal on it anyway. You know, if it's like a beetroot jar, for example, they're very good seals because nobody wants their beetroot juice to come in it. So they tend to be quite well sealed. But some others you might want to put a bit of glue around the rim just to keep it on and make it more waterproof. That would be
Yeah, like the one that you said wasn't waterproof, the natural one that you've done, it might be worth testing that to see if once you put some glue around it, like if you've got a glue gun as well, that would be a really good solid glue to make it waterproof.
yeah, absolutely. So if that works for you, that would nope. That's lovely. Linda's off to make some snow globes, she says. Thanks, Linda, for joining us. That was lovely. Okay. Well, that's fantastic. If nobody's got any other questions, we will head off. Thank you all very much for joining us today. We're back with more live demos in January and our national conference in Perth on the 14th of March, which is packed with workshops like this and lots of networking and lots of interesting information about therapeutic gardening and the whole field. You can meet lots of people there. We'd love to see you if you can come along.
fantastic. Thank you so much. I think it's okay to say Happy Christmas to everybody, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I think we can.
Happy Christmas.
Yeah, have a very happy Christmas, and we wish you lots of good fun making your festive Christmas decorations.